Hello everyone, and welcome to One Page Math Notes. And in this video, we're going to be talking about absolute value functions. So let's get started. The first thing we have to know about absolute value functions are absolute values. What are they? Well, they're going to be the positive distances between x and 0. What do I mean? Well, this is what I mean. A distance is going to be positive, so I put a. Now the distance between x and 0 is going to be a. Okay, let's write that in a formal definition. They're going to be the two positive distances between x and 0. Okay, that's why we always have 2. Okay, we're looking at the positive distance between x and 0. Now, and then we have to define absolute solutions. So when we talk about absolute solutions, we're talking about an absolute equation. So let's write down an absolute equation. So basically, the most simple is absolute value of x equals some number a. Okay? Well, how many solutions are we going to have? Well, we're going to have 2 solutions. We're going to have a solution that's positive and a solution that's negative a. This is how our solutions are always going to look like, positive minus a. Okay, because if you guys look at this, you have a negative a and you got a positive a. And if you guys noticed, what's the difference between the left and the right? Well, for one, I took out the absolute. And then the second thing is I have a plus and now I have a minus. So let's do an example. I'm going to break this into 2 parts. I'm going to remove that absolute value bracket. So I'm going to have 2x minus 2 equals 4. I'm going to take out that absolute value bracket. Instead of being positive 4, I'm going to put a negative 4. Okay? So this equation, basically, when you open it up, it's these 2 equations. Okay? So what do we do here? Do I get rid of the 2 in front of the x, or do I get rid of the negative 2? I always get rid of the negative 2. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So it's good to show our work. So I'm going to bring down the 2x. It's 4 plus 2, that's 6. How do I get rid of the 2? I'm going to divide. So what is my x? My x is 3. Okay, let's do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of this minus 2. Opposite of a minus 2 is a plus 2. I'm going to bring down the x. Negative 4 plus 2, that's negative 2. Opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. Okay, get negative 1. Now, are we done? No. What we always have to do is we have to check to make sure our work is correct. So we're going to substitute the 3 into that, and if it's true, then we're good. If it's not true, then we did something wrong, or it's not a solution. So let's check. I'm going to write it over. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use red. Let me bring this up a little bit. Check. So 2, instead of x, we're going to put 3 minus 2 absolute. Now I want it to equal 4. So let's see if it does equal 4. 2 times 3, that's 6, minus 2. That equals the absolute value. What's 6 minus 2? That's 4. What's the positive version of 4? Well, 4. So does it check? Yeah, it checks. So we know this is an answer. Now let's check if this is an answer. Okay, so 2 instead of x, we're going to put minus 1, minus 2. Now what's 2 times negative 1? That's negative 2 minus 2. Negative and negative, we're going to add them to get negative 4. What's the positive version of negative 4? That's positive 4. Okay, I'd like to think of the absolute as a positive machine. Anything that goes inside of it turns positive. So it'd be cool if we can apply it to debt, because if you owe debt, instead of being short $4, you have an extra $4. That's pretty cool. All right, now let's do example 2. This part, it's a little bit trickier. So can we off the bat break it down into 2 parts with positive 7 on the left and a negative 7 on the right? No, we can't do that. What we're going to have to do first is we always have to make it look like this, okay? So we have the absolute bracket and we got some number on the right. So let's do that. How do I get rid of that? What are we going to get rid of first? The 2 or the 1? We're going to get rid of the 1. So opposite of adding 1 is a minus 1. Okay? And we're going to bring this whole thing down. So we're going to have 2 bracket x minus 2 equals, well, what's 7 minus 1? That's 6. Now I got to get rid of this 2. Opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. Divide both sides by 2. And finally, what do we have? We have x minus 2 equals 3. Okay? Now, I wrote in red, so I'm going to continue writing in red, but I'm going to check with a blue this time. Let's go all the way down. Now, we're going to break this into 2 parts. Okay, I'm going to do the first part over here. So we have x minus 2 equals 3. And I'll put the second part over here. X minus 2 equals negative 3. And how do I get rid of that negative 2? Well, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. 3 plus 2 is 5. Here, opposite of minus 2, you add 2. So I'm going to have negative 3 plus 2, that's negative 1. So let's box our answer. And now we need to check. So do we have to substitute this into the first one, or can we use our edited equation, or more simplified equation? We can use the more simplified one, don't make it hard on yourself. So let's do that. And again, let me write down check. Also good to let your teacher know where you're checking. So maybe use a different color too, that's even better. So instead of x, I'm going to put 5 minus 2, and I want it to equal 3. So what's 5 minus 2? Well, that's the absolute value of 3. The positive version of a positive 3, that's just 3. So far, so good. Now, let's do the same thing. Let's check. So instead of x, we're going to put negative 1 minus 2. We add them, it's going to end up being minus 3. It's a positive version of negative 3. That's a positive 3. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So these are our 2 solutions. And this concludes absolute value functions. Thank you for watching.